Today I will be discussing on production and distribution of iron ore and copper. After this lecture, you will understand many issues in connection with iron ore, such as mining of iron ore in Canada, mining of iron ore in South America, mining of iron ore in Europe, mining of iron ore in USSR, in Asia, and in other countries. Apart from that, I will also discuss about international trade in iron ore. Besides that, I will also discuss on copper production and distribution, mining and extraction of copper, distribution of copper in the world, copper mining in South America, in USA, in Europe, and copper mining in Africa. Apart from that, I will also discuss the current situation of copper deposits in India. So let me discuss first about iron ore. This chapter begins with the continuation of discussion in previous chapter about the distribution pattern of iron ore in the world. Along with the distribution of iron ore, another important mineral, copper, has been included in this chapter, as I mentioned earlier. After understanding this chapter, you will be able to know the production and distribution of iron as well as copper in the world as well as in India. So let me explain first the mining of iron ore in Canada. Major iron ore production areas of Canada includes Newfoundland, Ontario, and Quebec, Labrador. Through in Newfoundland, the ore is hematite with an average iron content of more than 50%. Its location near the coast facilitates export. Most of the ore is exported to United States, Germany and Japan, and some to United States of America. Canada's annual output is nearly 24 million tons, which I can say about 5% of the world total. Now let me explain you a little bit of mining of iron ore in South America. You may be aware of countries such as Brazil, Venezuela, Chile, Peru. These are the major iron ore producing countries in South America. Brazil is currently world's second largest iron ore producing country, contributing more than 20% of the world's output. The largest deposits are in Minas Gerais with iron content of more than 60%, one of the world's largest high-grade deposits. Nearly half of the output is exported to Europe and 1/3 to USA. Compared to that, in Venezuela, high-grade iron ore is mined in two major locations. One is Sierra Imtaca at 𝗪𝗏 and Cerro Bolivar. Both are heavy, easy access to the sea by way of Orinoco River. Now you might be thinking, what is the status of iron mining in Chile? Chile produces high-grade iron ore with an iron content of more than 60%. Major deposits are located near Coquimbo and in the neighboring province of Atacama. Peru and Argentina also produces some iron ore. Let us discuss about mining of iron ore in Europe. Europe, including Asiatic Russia, earlier used to produce nearly half of the world's total iron ore. Now it contributes barely 14% of the world output. Iron ore deposits of the United Kingdom have practically exhausted. France, producing nearly 1/10 of Europe's total till 1991, now contributes in negligible amount to the continent output. Let me describe about the mining of iron ore in erstwhile USSR. After the Russian Revolution in 1917, the USSR emerged as the leading iron ore producer of the world. It retains this status until its disintegration in 1991, accounting for more than 1/5 of the world's total output. The ore mined an average 55% iron content 𝗪𝗏 rock in southern Ukraine and high-grade hematite deposits. Long use has largely exhausted the high-grade deposits. Kerch Peninsula in Crimea has large deposits of limonite with an iron content of 35% only. I have earlier also explained different types of iron because of the percentage of amalgamation of different other components. So, you must understand that which type of iron ore is produced in which type of region. The status of mining in Russia. In 1992, Russia produced a whopping 307 million tons of iron ore. In 2004, its production declined to 95 million tons. It holds 7.5% of iron ore reserved of the world. The ore mines distributed in 3 principal regions in Russia. The first one is Ural region. This region contains enormous amounts of high-grade iron ore and produces about 25% of the country's total. The second region in Russia is Kursk magnetite anomaly, which is also known as KMA. The Moscow-Tula region contribute huge amount of very high-grade ore. The third region is NW Russia. Murmansk, Kodar, etc. are significant mines in this connection. Let me explain use status in Ukraine. In 2004, Ukraine produced 66 million tons ore. The largest mine is at 𝗪𝗏 rock. Other notable mines are at Zaporozhye, that Lipetsk and Kerch Peninsula. You should also see these regions in the map to know the iron distribution. After that, another countries which I mentioned earlier also is France. Before the World War II, the Alaska-Lorena Valley region of France ranked second to the Lake Superior region of United States of America in iron ore mining. This region contributed 95% of the country's total output. It was credited with containing the largest ore reserves in Western Europe, though the deposits were of lower grade, in which 33% iron ore content were found. In Sweden is considered as the major iron ore producer in Europe. The major iron ore mines are located in Kiruna, Malmberget near Gällivare, Dannemora, Grängesberg, Falun, Farjesta, etc. Most of the iron ore are the grade magnetite with average iron ore content of 65%. However, due to continue of mining depth of mines are high and mining has become expensive in this region. Now you might be thinking, after France, what is the status in Germany? Germany has considerable reserves of medium quality iron ore located in eastern part of the Rhine Valley, Sage and Lahn near river valleys and Harz mountain areas, etc. Major mines are at Leipzig, Harz, Westphalia and Switzerland, etc. Germany imports iron ore from neighboring countries such as Spain. Spain, much of the Spanish output comes from the Oviedo and Santander mines of Iberian Peninsula. Spain exports some amount of good quality iron ore compared to other countries. Great Britain was the undisputed leader of iron ore production till 1913 when USA surpassed it. Since then, it could not regain its position. Most of the good quality ores have long been exhausted. Only inferior grades are new extracted, which can barely meet 1/3 of the domestic requirement. Great Britain is now a major iron ore importing country. Only two regions still produces sizable amount of iron ore, that is North Lincoln and South Lincoln. Mining of iron ore in Asia. Asia possesses huge reserves of iron ore. Due to late start of the development activities in most of the countries, Asia still holds good quality iron ore with substantial reserves. The leading iron ore producing countries in Asia are China, India and Japan. In China, the emergence of iron ore compared to world leading iron ore producing countries started in 1990s. In 2004, China produced 310 million tons of iron ore, which was approximately 22.75% of the world total. The development of iron mining in China has been spectacular. In 1973, China produced nearly 56 million tons, and in 1983, it surpassed Australia and USA, securing top positions. The estimated reserves of iron ore in China are over 10,000 million tons, most of which are of high-grade magnetite and hematite variety. The largest deposits occur in Manchuria. Now let me discuss about the iron ore mining in India. India, the fourth largest producer of iron ore, produced 143 million tons in 2004. Countries has witnessed a steady growth in the production of iron ore. India holds large reserves, nearly 20,710 million tons, of which 12,000 million tons are good quality hematite magnetite. And these ores are majorly found in Jharkhand, Orissa, Karnataka, Goa, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. The leading iron ore mines in India are in Goa, 𝗕𝗏𝗄, Mapsua, Netralim, etc. In Chhattisgarh, Arindogri, Raughat and Balidila districts, Dalli Rajhara in Dui districts. In Orissa, you may be aware of Keonjhar district, which is very important iron ore district, in Keonjhar, Kuruband and Thakurani. And in Guru, Mohisyani, Sulaipat, Badampaha in Mayurbhanj district. Apart from that, in Koira, etc. also, and most important is Dirigum Buri in Sundargarh districts. So, Sundargarh districts, Keonjhar districts, these are very important iron ore districts in Orissa. Apart from this, in Karnataka, you might be aware of Babudwan Hills, Hospet, Chitradurg, Tumkur, Sandur and Bellary districts. In Jharkhand, Singhbhim district is very well known for producing iron ore, and there the Pansirburu, Badabura, Goa and Barjamada, Magatabua, these are the important iron ore mining. In Andhra Pradesh, you may be aware of Anantapur, Kurnool, Adilabad, Karimnagar, etc. In Maharashtra, Asola, Lohara in Chandrapura districts. These are the important iron ore producing districts. After explaining the status of India, let me explain little bit about Japan too. Japan is not rich in iron ore reserves. The bulk of its iron ore is derived from scattered field. The best ores have exhausted and only low grade limonite are mined after enrichment and beneficiation. Some mines are located at Muraren in Hokkaido and Kamishi in Honshu regions. Japan imports most of its iron ore requirements. So now let me explain about mining of iron ore in other countries also, and Australia is one in this regard. In 2004, Australia produced 230 million tons of iron ore, which is approximately 13.4% of the world's total. Australia has recorded a steady growth in iron ore production from 85 million tons in 1973 to 110 million tons in 1990. It contains around 2.5% of the global iron ore reserves. The mines are located in two major regions. One is Western Australia. The vast Pilbara region has numerous mines like Mount ګوډوردی, Mount Whaleback, Mount Yumpi Sound, Mount Bruce, Mount Tom Fry, Brookman, Marando, etc. And the second region is known as Southern Australia. The largest deposits occur at Iron Knob, Iron Monrak, etc. Australia exports huge amount of iron ore in Japan and Western Europe. Mining of iron ore in Africa. Let me explain a little bit about this. Iron ore mining is increasingly rapid in Africa under the stimulus of increased demand from USA and Europe. This continent accounts for 5% of the world's total output. South Africa approximately 67%, Mauritania 23%, Egypt 6%, Algeria 3% are the main iron ore producing countries in Africa. Liberia, Zimbabwe and Tunisia are other producers which have declined in importance. In Northern Africa, Tunisia, Morocco and Algeria have been major ore producers. Copper is the first metal to be ever used by humans. Copper is one of the few metals that occur in nature in a usable metallic form, as opposed to the needing extraction from an ore. It is soft, malleable and ductile metal with very high thermal and electrical conductivity. Copper is an important alloying element for the production of brass and bronze, both of which have great demands in utensils market. The electrical conductivity of copper makes it the first choice in electrical industries. Copper is an important non-ferrous based metal having wide industrial application ranging from defense, space program, railways, power cables, mint, telecommunication cables, etc. Let me discuss about the mining and extraction of copper. Copper occurs in nature as sulfide minerals. It is present in a highly disseminated form in its ore. Chalcopyrite is the most important ore of copper. Copper is extracted from the sulfide ore by process of smelting followed by electrolysis. Copper is one of the most recycled metal. The recycling of copper scrap is gaining importance worldwide simply because of the fact that the recovery of copper metal from scrapper requires much less energy than its recovery made from primary sources. Besides, it enables conservation of natural resources. In Indian condition, however, collection of scrap is the unorganized sector and there is paucity of factual data in this connection. In the earth crust, the copper content is about 0.01%. Only in few copper deposits copper content is found at up to 3 to 5%. Copper in nature often exists in compounds. The world reserves of copper metals are assessed at 720 million tons of copper content. South America and especially Chile region is very known in this connection. Chile mines more than 4/5 of the South America's copper ore and over 37% of the world's total. It ranks second among the countries having large reserves. Most of its output comes from the 4 mines located on the western side of the Andes, and these supply more than half of the Chilean output. Tinintini, producing nearly a third of the Chile's copper. El Salvador and La Africana. These are the third and fourth region in this connection. It may be noted that Chuquicamata is the largest copper mines in the world. It is highly mechanized mine. The huge porphyry ores average nearly 2% of the copper. Huge machines, mines and transport the ore, and these are the advantageous factor of the production of copper ore in this location. Located in the desert at an elevation of 2,800 meters, the mining certain market handicaps. As I mentioned that these mines lie at higher altitude. So, at sometime it is located at the altitude of 2,400 meter in the rugged Andes and 160 kilometer south of Santiago. That these locations are also known in the copper mining locations. As I mentioned that South America is known in copper production, Peru is also very important region which produces about 7% of the copper of the world's total. Most of the production comes from underground mines and one huge open pit mines at Cerro de Pasco, which yields 80% of the copper of that mines. Chile and Peru exports most of their output to Western Europe and USA. Copper mine in North America. The USA approximately 63% of the continent copper, in Canada 24% and Mexico 13% are important copper producer of the world. Now let me explain little bit about copper mining in US. Accounting for about 8% of the world's output, it is the second leading copper producer and world's largest consumer in the world. Until World War I, the USA was a net exporter during and after the war. It became a net importer too. Since mid-1950, the dependence on the import began declining. Roughly 90% of all the copper mined in USA comes from 5 states, that is Arizona, Utah, Montana, Nevada and New Mexico. The largest copper mine in the country is the Great Open Pit Mines at Birmingham, Utah on the eastern slope of the Ukiah Range. Although Utah has the largest mine, Arizona contributes half of the national output. Arizona has several deposits widely distributed. Apart from United States of America, Canada accounts for about 4% of the world's copper, most of which comes from 4 districts: Ontario, Quebec, Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Ontario and Quebec contributes more than 80% of the national output. The Sudbury district in Ontario is by far the leading one in the country. It has large ore deposits containing an average of 1.46% nickel and 0.8% copper, some platinum metals and also iron. Canada consumes about 40% of its copper output and exports the remainder to Western Europe, USA and Japan. Let me explain you copper deposits in India. India is not self-sufficient in the production of copper ore. In addition to the domestic production of ore and concentrates, India imports copper concentrates for its smelters. The domestic demand of copper and its alloys is met through domestic production, recycling of scrap and by imports. The largest resources confined in the state of Rajasthan, followed by Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. Rajasthan covers 53.55%, followed by Jharkhand close to 19.59% and Madhya Pradesh 19% approximately. Copper resources in Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Odisha, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttarakhand and West Bengal accounted for remaining 7.82% of the total of all Indian resources. Both iron and copper are very significant minerals in the world. World production and distribution pattern of iron and copper helps us in understanding the key industrial pockets around the world. So it is very important to understand their advantageous locations, the benefits which the specific countries are gaining because of the mining, production, import and export of these ores.